Trump imposed on the ICC, and those people will not be able to visit America. And the spokesperson of the EU Foreign Affairs said that he really expresses his concern in relation to these sanctions, and he said that this American decision could really affect the procedures and the measures and the duties of the ICC. And we have from Maryland Barry, the writer and the researcher, and we welcome you, Mr. Donadio. We will begin with South Africa that is affected by the sanctions. Can you speak about the sanctions, please?
Yes, I think the United States lost confidence in the international court. We know that China has some influence over it. We are not a signatory to the agreements of the international court. And as far as most Americans are concerned, we don't trust the international court, certainly not since Vladimir Putin left Russia, went to Mongolia, and wasn't immediately arrested. So it's really hasn't been taken seriously since then. We don't see the actions that they have taken against Benjamin Netanyahu to be valid. So I think that's what brought along the sanctions. So that's what we're at right now today. So until that court gets some credibility, I think you're going to see more actions like that from the United States.
Mr. Donadio, so why doesn't the U.S. trust these institutions?
Well, simply, like I said, it seems to be influenced by China. It seems to be targeting just specific individuals. You don't hear much of talk of the international court going after the cartels, for instance, in Mexico, people that are really, bringing violence to the world and a threat to humanity. And it just seems to be politically motivated, so that's what I think about it.
Mr. Donadio, the withdrawal of America, will it really enhance these institutions today?
I don't think they're going to enhance much of anything. I think the United States will continue to give sanctions to the international court and other bodies that it feels are under the impression of China, Russia, any group that is not operating fairly and equally across the board. I imagine the United States will act in the same way and do sanctions until there's more legitimacy brought to that court.
Today, 79 countries supported the ICC, and some of the European countries pressure today for these courts. So can Trump get away from his decision?
Well, I think Trump is going to stand very strong and firm with his decision. It can't be ignored that those 79 countries are backing the court. It's certainly duly noted, but the United States, from what I see, is interpreting this court as an invalid court and a court that is just making, decisions based on political motivations at this point.
So why didn't Biden impose some sanctions and Trump did?
We may have seen President Biden do the same thing if he were elected to office and had 4 more years in office. I can't explain why Biden did or didn't do something. I just imagine he didn't have the time to, or it hasn't escalated to this level at this point. At this moment in time, the United States feels the way it feels. They're imposing sanctions. They believe this court is politically motivated, and I think you'll see more sanctions if the court continues with what appears to be political judgments on certain individuals, just politically motivated.
What does America expect after these sanctions, Mr. Donadio?
Well, I think they're hoping to get some attention to the court through the eyes of the world to see if that court can gain some legitimacy, can operate without political interference, free and equal, free from China, free from Russia. And that's going to be tough. That's going to take some hard work because, like I brought up the instance where Mongolia, which is a signer to the agreements to the International Court, doesn't even keep its obligations to arrest Vladimir Putin when he came to their country. Why would some country that's not even a signatory of the agreement with the International Court, why would anyone take that court seriously at that point?
Today, Mr. Donadio, Trump is on office and he really has a lot of decisions and a lot of orders and a lot of calls. So America sees what 79 countries cannot see.
Well, the United States is going to do what's good for the United States first, as every country should do for itself. So in the interpretation of the United States, this, like I've said, it's interpreting that this court is not a valid court. They're not a signatory to the agreements of this court where they're imposed to arrest anybody if they have a warrant for them, like Benjamin Netanyahu, for instance. So that is my understanding. It's just not a valid court in the United States' views.
America today really supports law and the enforcement of law, but the sanctions can affect the sovereignty of the courts.
Well, we hope it does. We hope it gets them to think twice about being politically motivated in their decisions and targeting people that, political opponents are not liking, maybe again influenced by China or Russia. And this court recently just seems to be targeting certain people for political reasons. So I would think that it would be the hopes of the United States that sanctions would maybe get the attention of the International Court to maybe reevaluate itself and maybe to try to make better decisions moving forward and gain some legitimacy to the court. And then I would imagine Donald Trump would remove the sanctions once that's displayed.
Is there any evidence that China and Russia interferes?
So it is the belief of the United States, and from what I understand, that China does have a lot of influence over the International Court, as well as Russia. Me personally, I do not have the evidence in front of me, but that is my understanding.
Today we find that Trump, in relation to Gaza, Mr. Donadio, we find that he has a lot of decisions like sanctions on the ICC and the displacing of Gaza people, and he says that he has enough time and he is not in a hurry related to Gaza. What happened? What changed his opinion?
Well, I think the decision, which we all know is very complex in Gaza, should not be rushed. I think that's basically what it comes down to. It's my understanding that Trump doesn't want all Palestinians to be removed from Gaza. There are a certain amount that may want to leave voluntarily and resettle in Jordan or Egypt. Okay, so we know that 1.8 million people in Gaza is a lot of people. They have to rebuild Gaza. We do know that Gazans are returning to the north. This is a good thing. So there's conflicting reports, and it's not my belief that the United States wants to remove.
But Mr. Donadio, the decisions of Trump, and he's a deal person, and he said that this is related to business, and it's not innocent. What he does is that he gives Gaza to Netanyahu, and this is related to the weapon dealings that he really conducts at the time of the ceasefire.
So from what I understand, Gaza is going to be rebuilt. In order to rebuild it, we have to have Gazans go back safely. Right now, there is a ceasefire. This is a very, very good thing, and I'm praying the ceasefire continues. There are hostages being released from Palestine and Israel. This is all good news for the region, all thanks to Donald Trump. Now, we all know the complexity of this situation, and it needs to go very slowly. From what I understand, Gaza will be rebuilt, and I imagine Gazans, Palestinians, will be in Gaza there. We don't see...
Who can guarantee that they will return if they go out of Gaza today? Trump was very clear. He really took these decisions, and he said that it's like a plan for Gaza after the reconstruction, and this is like a deal for America, and he's going to take over this place.
I think what Trump means is that the United States will take over brokering a peace in Gaza. There are, as we know, 1.8 million Gazan Palestinians. They have to go somewhere. I imagine they're going to go right back to Gaza. The Americans, I believe Egypt, Jordan, Israel will all be key players in rebuilding Gaza, and it has to be done correctly. It has to be done safely. I believe that the more Palestinians that go to Egypt or Jordan, even temporarily, makes this easier.
But Mr. Donadio, the Arab countries like Egypt and Jordan reject the decision, Trump's decision, and of course all these countries reject. Is this a pressure on Trump, Mr. Donadio, and the U.S. as well supports Israel with ammunition and weapons at the same time of the ceasefire and the beginning of the second phase of the ceasefire. So it gives Israel a lot of weapons.
Yes, you make a very good point. The United States is giving weapons to Israel, but we've also authorized weapons for Egypt, and I'm pretty sure we've helped out Jordan as they have helped us out. The leaders of Egypt and Jordan are very intelligent. They're very good leaders. I think between Donald Trump, Al-Sisi of Egypt, and King Abdullah of Jordan, I think there will be peace. I think this will be settled. Okay, the United States is giving weapons to Israel. This is nothing new. We've given weapons to Israel in the past. This is to ensure their sovereignty moving forward. I hope for a peace after this settlement of releasing the hostages. We all need to believe and have hope for this. And if we remove the hate from the region, I believe there will be peace.
But Mr. Donadio, in relation to Egypt, this is very important. Egypt today was the part and parcel of having this deal accomplished, and it rejected the displacing them, and this is against their security.
Sure. I think right now, as maybe the talks between President Trump and Al-Sisi of Egypt are right now, maybe it is being rejected. There needs to be a lot more talking, and there needs to be a lot more negotiation so Palestine can have peace and be rebuilt. I believe it will happen. I agree with you. I don't think there's going to be 1.8 million Palestinians sent to Egypt or Jordan. I think some may voluntarily want to go, whether temporarily or permanent. And I really don't see a Palestine without Palestinians, and I don't see where they would all go. So I think they will be there, in my opinion, and I think it will be rebuilt, and I think there will be peace under brokered peace by the United States. Egypt is
Mr. Donadio, the Palestinians, they will not go out of their territories, and the Gaza people really say that they will be on their lands, on their tents until Gaza is reconstructed. Thank you very much from Maryland.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you.